Hello, let's look at first why you need to use the Ilara HMIS billing and inventory features. These features are aimed at helping you to reduce your struggles in doing billing and inventory. The features will be able to help you simplify patient billing by enabling you to easily document patient bills and record payments, generate accurate invoices for insurance claims. They'll also be able to help you track financial insights effortlessly, getting to have a view of the order totals, amount received, and outstanding balances. You'll be able to view payment methods to understand how patients prefer to pay, and also you'll be able to have empowered decision making with analytics like the top 10 inventory sales for any defined periods, and also you'll be able to make informed financial and stock management decisions with ease. These features will also help you optimize your inventory management by the implementation of low stock notification that will never allow you to run out of essential supplies, and also with restocking that's made easier, you'll be able to track stock levels and replenish as needed. Before you begin using the billing and inventory features in the Ilara HMIS, there are some key things that you need to do first. One is to upload a logo. The logo will be generated with the documents that are produced with those features like receipts and invoices, so it's essential to upload the facility logo before you begin. Next, at 2 is adding payment methods. Payment methods will need to be added prior to using those features because the payment methods are what we'll be selecting when the payments will be processed with those features. 3. Customizing receipt options and invoice options. This needs to be done prior because they will reflect on how the facility would like them to look like. 4. Adding invoice recipients. Invoice recipients will be selected when invoices will be generated with those features. So it's essential to add those invoice recipients prior to using the features. At 5 is adding products and services. Products and services are the items that will be selected when populating the patient's bill, and they need to be added prior, identifying their names, their price points, and the forms in which they are sold out. At 6 is updating inventory stock levels. It will be essential to update the inventory stock levels before beginning to use the billing and inventory features, because when the bills will be created out of the products and services, the products with inventory records, the system will deduct the quantities that are being sold out. So if you do not update the inventory stock levels, the items will be running negative in the system, which is not a proper stock management process. We're going to look at how to do these 6 steps in the preparation for using the billing and inventory features. Now, the 6 steps that we've seen in preparing to using the billing and inventory features are things that are done in the admin panel. In the admin panel, we'll start with the organization settings. This will provide us the place for uploading the logo. As you can see, to upload a logo to the system, what you'll do is to click to upload. Click here and select the logo file and upload it into the system, or you can drag that file and drop it in this box. Next is payment methods that are added here. So payment methods has the add payment method button, which allows you to add the payment method. To add a payment method, you'll put the name of the payment method. That can be something like M-Pesa. Mark it as active on POS, and also indicate if you'd like to collect transaction codes from that payment method. So if we say yes, then this will mean that for somebody to process a payment with M-Pesa, they'll need to provide the transaction code recorded there to complete it. When the payment methods have been added, they'll appear in this list, as you can see. And what you can do is that you can also manage those payment methods by clicking on the 3 dots and clicking on edit payment method, which allows you to even edit the name, change the active on POS status, or change if you no longer want to collect transaction code for that payment method. With that done, we have looked at the 2 functions. Number 1, logo. Number 2, payment method. All those are done in organization settings. For step 3 and 4, those ones will be done in the branch management section. So we'll move to branch management, edit this branch, and we will scroll and see the very first part is receipt options. This provides us to be able to get a preview of a thermal receipt, to identify how the receipt would look like if we were to print it on a thermal receipt. This is how it would look like. If we are not satisfied with it, we can always add additional header or additional footer. We can also preview a regular receipt. This is a receipt printed on an A4 printer, A4 size, or saved as a PDF. This is how it would look like. And then we will indicate the type of receipt we would like the system to generate. With that selected, we will also indicate if we'd like the business logo to be shown or not. Proceeding forward, we're moving to the invoice options, where we will preview the invoice to see how the invoice would look like. This is how the invoice would look if generated from the system. We can add an additional footer for the invoice and also indicate if we would like the business logo to be shown on the invoice or not. Coming at the bottom, we have the invoice recipients, where we will add the companies that we will be generating invoices for. To do that, we will click on the Add New Invoice Recipient, indicate the name of the recipient address, and indicate if they'll be active on POS or not. If this is not active, that invoice recipient will not be on the POS selectable at the point of invoice generation. The invoice recipients added in the system will appear in this table, and you can always change to indicate the number of items you want displayed per row. As you see, there were more than what was displayed. This is the total number of invoice recipients that exist added. You can always manage an invoice recipient by clicking on the 3 dots, choosing edit recipient, and you can update the information or even decide to no longer have them active on POS. With that done, moving forward, we go to the 5th step, which is adding products and services in the system. That happens in the inventory module, stock management section. Here is where we will add the products and services into the system. These will form up the list of items that can be selected while creating the patient bills. If your facility is just starting to use this list will be empty. And to add products and services here, you will click on the Add Product button at the top right. This will provide the new product interface where you will fill in the details of that product you want to add, providing the product name. For example, diclofenac 100 mg. We select it as a product. The SKU field is optional, but this will hold the unique identifier of that product, like a barcode or even just a unique number that we've assigned to that specific product. Then we move to product sorting, where we'll put the product category for this particular product. Product categories are in the system, as you can see on this list. You can always search for product category, or you can scroll and select to load more items. For this product, we will assign it pharmacy as the category, but it will be very useful to assign the right product category, identifying something like antibiotic, analgesic for the products that you are adding onto the system. We move to the selling price, where we will update the packages that this product can be sold in. And to do that, we will start with the base sellable package. This part here will host the smallest unit of this product that can be sold, e.g. a tablet. So here we will indicate a tablet as the smallest form this product can be sold in. And if we were to sell it, we will sell it at 5 shillings. and mark it as available on POS if we want that package to be available, selectable at the point that this item is being selected and added to the patient bill. We can also add another package where we can define even other forms that this item can be sold in, where we can say 10S having 10 tablets being sold for 50 shillings available on POS. Packages can also enable us to be able to define the price point based on the payment method, where we can say that 10S cash will be sold at 50 shillings, whereas 10S insurance, also having 10 units in it, will be sold at 70 shillings. So this is an example of how packages can be used, defining different forms and also defining the payment methods that differentiate the price point for the same product offering. If we wanted to restock this item in box form, we can also create a package that we will use solely for restock purposes. In that case, we will indicate it as a box having 100 tablets. The selling price is a required field, so each time we will need to put a selling price. We can indicate just an amount here. Does not necessarily mean that we are going to sell this item as a box to a patient, but we'll just enter an amount so that we fill in this field. And then we do not want to mark it available on POS because this is a package that we are creating purely for restock function to make the restock process much more easier. Low stock notification will be the place where we will enter the minimum units before the system starts sending notification on that product. And this will reflect the base package, where if we say 320, then this will reflect 320 tablets as the least tablets that we should be having in the system. Below that, the system should let us know that that item is running low on stock. So with this information provided, to save this item into the system, we will click on Save Changes and it will be added into the system and displayed on the list here. That was a demonstration on how you can add a product. To add a service, the same process will apply. You'll click on Add Product. The different thing is that on the product type, you will now select Service. And when you do that, other stock related information will be hidden to mean that this is a service, it does not have stock. So a service could be something like tooth extraction. Product category could be something like procedure. And then on the packages, we can say tooth extraction can be offered to a minor on cash basis at 700 shillings, available on POS. It can also be offered to a minor on insurance at 1000 shillings. It can be offered to an adult cash at 1000 and an adult insurance at 1200. Now that is how we are going to use packages for services, but again, this is entirely up to the facility to decide how the price points differ and how the packages is going to be used. What I've shown you is just an illustration of how it can be used, but you'll be able to decide on how to use it. With this information field, we'll click on Save Changes and the service will be added into the system and it will be displayed in the list. That's how to do products and services addition into the system, one product at a time. Another way on how this can be done is through the use of a product list that I'm going to discuss. What you're now seeing on the screen is the product list template. The product list has column headers like the name of the products, the type, product category, available in POS, price, and the package name, and even others like stock quantity. So we will focus on these others for the start. The product list template, as you can see, has some products and services added onto it, and we've made sure to categorize these products with the right product category. For a facility that is looking to have these products easily added into the system, they could adopt this product list template that we have. In that case, what we will do is we will upload these into the system, and then you will be able to edit out the products while they are in the system, adding the details that do not reflect what's at your facility, like the prices. Another way is that we can also share this product list template to you, and then you can edit it out, filling in the right information like the prices and the packages. Or you could also build up your product list if your facility already has a list of products in soft copy. You could build up a list, but you'll need to make sure that the product list you're building up needs to have the exact product categories. So you could borrow from the product categories that we have on the product list template to ensure that you just select the product categories. So you do not type out, because if it is even misspelled, the system will reject that product category. With the products and services added into the system, the last step at number 6 is updating the inventory stock levels. Now, we need to update the stock levels for the products, and to do that, we can, if we're seeing the product in the system like this, we can click on the 3 dots and click on restock. Then we will indicate the package, we'll indicate the buying price per package, we'll indicate the expiry date, and then we will indicate the packages to add. So this will be the number of units that we want to add. If we had selected tablet as the package, this will be the number of tablets we want to restock. So 250 for example. And then we will click on add items, and the system will update the available units, and it will also document that restock function. Another way we could do this is we could even sort this product based on the product category, where we will come to filters and filter by product category, where we will select the specific product category that we want. If they are antibiotics we want to do a restock for, we will select that, apply all filters, and we will be able to see the list of antibiotics. We can indicate at the bottom here that we want 50 displayed per page, and then we can click on this checkbox. This will select all the products, and we will click on restock to be able to do a bulk restock. Here we'll be able to quickly put the package, buying price, expiry date, packages to add, fill in for all these products, click on save changes, and the system will do a bulk restock, updating the inventories for all those products that we had filled in the information for. Now you've seen how we are using the categories, so it's very important to ensure that the products have the right product category. Filters are available, and you can filter out based on things like even the product type, product or service, based on the stock level, or even expiry dates. We are keen on getting to update the inventories for the products, because that's a step that we need to finish before we begin using the billing and inventory features. You can also search for a product by providing the product name, and then you'll be able to see it. Click on 3 dots, click on restock, restock the product, provide the package, the buying price per package, expiry date, packages to add, and then add items. The inventory available units has been updated. When all this is done and every product has the right stock levels, then we can begin to now use the billing and inventory features, as we are going to see next. Now, on using the billing and inventory features, we are going to look at how to create a patient bill. To create a bill for a patient like this, you will resume the encounter. You'll be able to see the patient bills section in the patient encounter, which you'll open up and go to point of sale. And then you will be presented with the list of items, products, and services that were already added in the admin panel. And what you will do from here is that you will search for the product or service that you want to add to their order summary, indicating the items that they are being billed. So we can say this patient is being billed for consultation. So we will search for an item consultation, select, and then pick a package, click on add. We will search for diclofenac, open it up. Already you are seeing the available units. This is helpful to let you know the stock levels so that you do not sell an item that is running low on stock or that is no longer available. You can see the pack as they had been added, showing you that 10S for insurance will cost this much, 10S for cash will cost this much. Now, based on the payment method the patient is using, let's say this one is using insurance, so we will pick this package, add it there. We can also search for another item. We have the option of changing the quantity here to 2. Or you can also change the quantity from the order summary. Assuming that these are the only items the patient is being billed, from here we could do two things. We can go to complete payment or go up here and generate an invoice. This being an insurance patient, we want to generate an invoice for them. What we will do is we will click on the shopping cart icon. We will indicate the invoice due date, and then we will pick the invoice recipient. We saw where these ones were being added in the admin panel. So we will select CIC, for example. Then we have the option of indicating to print this or not. If we say print it, then when we generate it, we'll be able to get the preview of the invoice. So this is the invoice, and we can download it from here and print it out or save it as a PDF. That is how an invoice is generated on the system. Very fast and efficient. After that, you'll just close up that, go back to the dashboard, and attend to the next patient. Another way that you can do billing on the system is through the billing module here. Open it up. The billing module will present you with the point of sale, which will have again the products and services that are in the system. And you have on the right side, if you want to add these products to the order summary, you will need to first, this time round, add a patient to bill. So to do that, you'll click on add patient to bill, which presents you with two options. You can either add a patient with a clinical encounter or an over-the-counter patient. To do that, we will assume this patient is an over-the-counter patient. For a patient with a clinical encounter, the system would ask us to select the clinical encounter, or even to create a clinical encounter to start it if it does not exist. So for an over-the-counter patient, we've selected over-the-counter. We can search for the patient if they exist in the system, if they had probably been already served before in the system. If we don't find them, then we can record their information, their first name, last name, gender, phone number, and the date of birth, if we are able to get it. In a situation where we are not able to get this information, despite it being very useful, because when we are able to document the details of the patient, it helps in getting to reach out for them in cases of maybe recall of medication. Also, it helps us build a database of our customers that we can leverage on in getting to do things like broadcast messages, inviting these patients for medical camps. So somebody could be an over-the-counter patient today, but if the facility leverages on the fact that they're able to get their contact information, they could be able to bring them in as maybe a clinical patient next time. So it's very helpful to have this. But in a situation where you are not entirely able to get the details, probably maybe you're having a lot of patients of the queue, or the patient is buying an item that does not warrant you to get their information, what you can do is you can use one patient that is created by the facility using a name that is able to reference that this is a patient that is an arbitrary patient selected in situations where you are not able to get the details. Such kind of a patient can exist, could be named something like over the counter or over counter, like this, with a unique phone number, can be selected in that situation. This patient is created by the facility. So if that is the patient added, you'll click on create over the counter bill, and then you'll continue with adding the products that you want to bill. So if this is the product, put the quantity, add it to cart. The product has been added. This being an over-the-counter patient, we are not generating invoices, so we have the option of changing the price if we would like to give them a discount. To do that, we will click on change price, put the new price or reduce it by a new percentage, and then select the reason for the price change, something like a discount. We do not want to do that right now. We want to complete the payment, where we will be presented with the payment methods that we had added in the admin panel. We will select the payment method, indicate the percentage that is being paid with that payment method, because the system supports multiple payment methods. So we can say 100% for cash, and then we can choose if we want to print the receipt or not. If not, we will leave that like that and click on validate payment, and the system will record that transaction, and we can continue selling to the other patients that come in. With that done, we've seen the two places where patient bills can be created: on the clinical encounter, or it can be created here in the billing module point of sale. You can also do over-the-counter transaction. This is very useful because if the system is tracking inventory and the facility is having maybe a pharmacy that serves out over-the-counter patients, then it will be helpful for them also to use the system so that the inventory levels are always updated across the facility. With that done, we are proceeding now to the other part that entails getting to use the accounting section to be able to see these orders and be able to do much more on the orders. When you open the orders section, you will be able to see the list of orders here on the orders tab. These are the orders that have been transacted in the system. I'll talk about the top part much more later. On the orders, you can be able to do things like, for an order that has an unpaid amount, you can be able to generate an invoice if an invoice had not been generated. This one already has an invoice, so what we can do is just to view that invoice that was generated and download it if you want to do that. For an order like this, you can always add a payment because it is unpaid still. or you can add a credit note. A credit note will be a way to reduce this remaining balance with a documented process where you will indicate if maybe the facility is issuing a waiver. You'll be able to add credit note, indicate reduced bill by 50 shillings, reason, waiver, update bill, and now this order only has a remaining balance of 300. We've waived 50 shillings. That is the process. This order being based on a clinical encounter, you can always click on view encounter to see the encounter and the information that that encounter entailed. For orders that have been paid, you cannot add payment, but you can generate the receipt. For orders that are unpaid and have not been generated for invoices, you can generate invoices, which brings us to the next part on all invoices. But before we go there, let's look at the options that we have at the top here. This table being a table of orders with only 10 entries per page, but we can change that. You can also search for an order using the patient's name, where if we were to say we want orders for David, if the patient existed, so let's search for Eric, we can see that these are the orders for this particular patient. You can also export these orders into a CSV document, that is an Excel document, by clicking on export orders, indicating the start date and the date from and the date to. You can also filter out this list by things like the bill type, if you only want over-the-counter orders or clinical encounter orders, orders by their payment status, unpaid or partially paid, or even by the date they were added. So let's say we want over-the-counter unpaid. We do not want to provide the period, so let's do that and see. So these are the orders that meet that criteria that we've defined. You can always go back to filters and clear all filters. You can also configure the columns, indicating the columns that you want to be displayed. If you're not interested in maybe the order date, you can do that and it will be removed from the list, but you can always go back and add it so that it's displayed. Now let's move to the other tab, the all invoices. This one will have all the invoices in the system, generated in the system. The same way on orders, we have all the orders in the system. Now on invoices, you'll be able to see the list of invoices, and what you can do on an invoice is that you can open it up, add a payment. You can click on the three dots and click on print invoice if you'd like to print it again, or you can void an invoice. Now voiding an invoice will move the invoice to the archive section, which we will see later on. Voiding the invoice will act like deleting the invoice if it was maybe created erroneously and you do not want it to exist as an actual invoice in the system. Outstanding and past due will have the invoices based on their current standing. We'll skip that and go to receipts. Receipts tab will be able to show us the list of receipts generated. So we did an over-the-counter and the patient paid 100%. That is the receipt here, and we can always click on three dots and click on print receipt, and we can see that receipt here and download it or print it out again. Then credit notes will have the list of credit notes generated. We did a waiver for that patient of 50 shillings. It's here and you can see it. What we can do on it is to print the credit note, and this is how the credit note will look. Waiver of 50 shillings. Archive, as I mentioned, will have the voided invoices. They'll be added here, and what you'll be able to do is just to see them here. Now I'm coming to the top part, where on the data that is accumulated on the system, the billing and inventory transactions done, the system can be able to do analysis on that and be able to present you with what you're seeing at the top here, which are the total orders, total recovered revenue, total outstanding invoices, and total credit notes. So the total orders will have the total amount of the orders that have been generated in the system for the defined period. The same will apply to this and this and this. And why I say that is because we have the filter totals, which allows you to define the period of this data that is aggregated here. So if you wanted this data to apply for maybe the last 7 days, this will be the period, and you can click on apply filters and you can see that will change. So when a filter is not applied, this is for all the data existing in the system. So on total recovered revenue, you can always point on it to be able to see the revenue recovered based on the payment methods used to recover them, where you could be able to identify the payment method that patients prefer. That is the one with most transactions here. We are seeing cash has the highest number, and the least is at payment method like Tibayako. So total outstanding invoices will be the total for the outstanding invoices, and total credit notes will be the total for credit notes that have been documented in the system. Then we proceed to customers, where we will be able to find the invoice recipients here and the invoices that has been generated for them. So the payer here will be able to show us the invoice recipients that we have that are active. And as you can see here, this is the number of invoices generated for them, and the days those invoices are overdue, and even the total balance for those invoices. So an invoice recipient like NHIF, for example, has 12 invoices generated. If we wanted to see these invoices, we'll click on the 3 dots and click on View Payer Summary. This will give us the summary of that invoice recipient or the customer, where we can see the invoices here that were generated and the information for the totals. We can even filter these or configure the columns or even search for a patient from this list. On each invoice, you can click it up and be able to add a payment. You can also click on the 3 dots and either print the invoice or void it. What you can also do on an invoice recipient like this is to click on the 3 dots and print their payer summary, which will ask you to indicate the dates. Click on apply, and you will see the summary. So this is how the summary will look like. It will have the information of that customer, the invoiced amount, amount total, and balance due, and the duration. And so it tells them, and these are documents that can be downloaded and printed or saved as a PDF and sent to them. So it tells them that these are the invoices, and this is the total balance that we would like you to pay. While here, you can also add an invoice recipient or a customer by clicking on the Add New Customer. It will present you with the place where you will fill the name of the recipient, recipient address, and active status on POS. This we had seen that can also be done in the admin panel branch management section, but you can also do it here. Now we've looked at how to use the billing and inventory features. The other part that we are going to look at is even more advanced reporting being generated from the data that the system documents in these features. That is on the admin panel, where we'll go to the facility dashboard. The very first part we will start with is in the summary dashboard, where you'll be able to get the top 10 inventory sales. So we will scroll to that. This is the top 10 inventory sales. You can see the top 10 items and even the quantities that has been sold and the amount that has been sold for those quantities. Then on revenue tracking, you'll be able to even get much more analytics out of the billing and inventory data, where you'll be able to see, again, the bill total amount. You can see a comparison of the average revenue per visit of that particular month, and a comparison between the previous month, where you can see if there is an increase or a decrease. You can see the trend of bills total monthly with bills average revenue per visit. So you can see that bills total monthly, September we had the highest amount, and then it dropped on October, and it's slowly gaining traction in November. And then you can also get a revenue breakdown of the bills based on the department, where you look like consultation and the amount for consultation, investigation and the amount, pharmacy. So this tells you that procedures is bringing in the highest, followed by pharmacy, and then the rest follow. So there are much more detailed analytics out of the data, and it's available in the revenue tracking. That summarizes the inventory features in the system, and you've been able to see what you can do out of the data. What I'll explore last is much more detailed functions in the inventory module, stock management. So because now we've seen the items being sold, we may want to be able to see the stock movement for particular items, and where we will find that is on stock movement, where we'll be able to either filter out or even search for a product, and say we want to look at ABZ, open it up, and ABZ, we want to see the transactions that it has had. So the very first transaction for ABZ was a sale, one item that brought the stock to -1. So this already shows us that the facility started selling or using the billing and inventory feature without properly completing the 6 steps that needs to be taken before you start using it. The steps entailed updating the stock. So the stock should have been updated such that when now you begin selling, you are not running at negative. But that didn't happen in this case. And you can see the sales continued. They continued up until this time when this particular user did a restock on this particular day and did a restock for 250 units. Now, despite this user restocking 250 units, because there had been some other sales prior to the restock being done, the quantity does not now change to 250 as available, but the system will deduct every quantity that had been sold previously, and now the quantity will reflect 235 available. What this could mean is that if this is not the actual quantity on stock, then there is a discrepancy in the stock. So that's why it's very important to follow the right step. And then after this, another sale was done. So this is stock movement. It enables you to have a visibility into how the item stock has been changing over time, and even gives you more information like the actual person that does the action in the system and the movement type. Other than that, we have also batches, where you'll be able to see batches for the products. So if we were to search for ABZ, we'll be able to open it up and see ABZ has had only one batch. This means that it's been restocked only once, and these were the units in that batch, and this was the buying price for that package. If you were to search for a product like diclofenac, new. This has had a lot of batches, and these batches usually have different expiry dates, or it could have the same expiry date, but the system allows you to have visibility into the batches that you have and even the units in that batch. And you can also see the buying price for those batches, and you can click on the three dots to be able to edit a particular batch and even change things like the batch number if you wanted to have the specific batch number from the factory entered here. Then archive, here we'll have the list of archived products. Back to available stock, the products that exist in the system and services can always be archived. I had mentioned that archive on the system represents the delete function, where if you were to archive this product, it will be moved to the archive section, where to restore it back, you'll click on the three dots and click on restore. And this will ask you to do a stock take to confirm if everything is still having the updated quantities, and then it will be restored back. So other than that, what you can also do on items are things like doing a scrap, and scrap is a way of reducing the stock by documenting the reason for reducing that stock, where you'll select the package, select the batch, select the reason for scrapping, like damaged, lost, or expired. So let's say damaged, and enter the packages that you want to scrap. So you want to scrap 20 tablets of this batch. Click on scrap items, and this reduces the inventory and also reduces the quantities in that particular batch. Stock take allows you to edit the units, where you'll be able to see for each particular batch the units that were collected, and you can also physically count these units and update the units that you've counted. If you were to do this and confirm it, the units in stock would change, reflecting on the new values that you've provided on these units counted fields. That's the end of this training, and now you have much more knowledge on using the billing and inventory features in the Ilara HMIS.